All right. I am going to declare us live. Don't know if I timed that right, but we'll have to do the best we can. Welcome to the awesemo.com PGA Strategy Show. It's been a while, but you know the drill, chat. Myself, Ben Rasa, here with Tim Frank, who truly has not been seen or heard from in months. You made it. You're still here. Everything looks the same from my vantage point. How goes it?
I was off the grid for like 3 months. Didn't even think about golf, honestly. It was so funny. Then trying to prepare for this event, I'm trying to find information on the PGA Tour media guide, and it's all different. I'm like DMing people. It was a mess. So yeah, I mean, being off the grid was kind of good, but then when you try and get back into the swing of it and you haven't literally thought about golf for a while, it was a little tough. But yeah, I mean, we're coming back to the best venue in golf though, so that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, this is right in your wheelhouse. We get this, we get Heritage next. We lost a couple good events here and there. I believe JDC got cut, one of your all-time favorites.
Yeah, that was RIP to the John Deere class.
But I mean, we don't need to spend too much time because we're going to go through all these players, chat what's going on, everybody. Great to have everyone. But do you have any just macro thoughts real quick? You don't need to get too crazy, but you think this is going to go off without a hitch? Do you think they're going to have shot tracker?
Oh God, I didn't even think about shot tracker.
Yeah, are they going to have people out there shooting lasers?
I guess it is very possible they don't have shot tracker. That never even crossed my mind, and that would be
devastating,
horrifying, to be honest, because that's the whole reason anybody even plays DFS golf or bets on it, because it's a good sweat. You can sit there, you can follow everything. Yeah, if they don't have shot tracker, which honestly seems like a real possibility, that would be disappointing. But yeah, I mean, I think the event goes off without a hitch. Things seem like they're getting a lot better out there. If hundreds of thousands of people can protest in the street, which they have the right to do, I think, we could play golf without a problem. So yeah, I don't think anything's going to go wrong with the tournament, but yeah, no shot tracker would be not good.
Do you think that we are going to see more guys just have a penalty stroke, in the sense of you hit a drive that either would have hit the gallery or the gallery could identify where it went, and now they just can't find the ball?
Yeah, I think that's huge because, yeah, there's very rarely a lost ball. Everybody, there's so many people, so many cameras, everybody knows where the tee shot went. Yeah, I think it's going to play somewhat difficult, being that the rough is not going to be trampled down. There are going to be some lost balls where, there's just nobody out there to see exactly where it went. No grandstands. I know those help guys out a lot behind some of these greens. So yeah, I think it'll play a little bit more difficult, but I don't know if there's anything really actionable for us from a handicapping or DFS perspective. I don't know how you utilize that information. I mean, it's already a course that demands some accuracy. So, I mean, it's something to think about, but I don't really know how much you could actually use that info.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. I don't think you can use it a ton. So what we're going to do, I want to say right off the top, I'm a little rusty for the Tuesday show. We haven't done it in a couple months. But you know who stuck with us during the hiatus is SuperDraft. Our friends over at SuperDraft still sponsoring the show, which we really appreciate. If you guys haven't been over there, it's worth checking out. Looks like their tournaments are going to overlay. We'll be talking more about this. But basically, what I just want to say is their format is different. The way they do it, Rory and Jon Rahm at the top, they're 1x. Every other golfer is a multiplier off them. So if you want to take all the top guys, that's fine, but you're going to get a pretty standard multiplier. If you want to take a risk, just to give you an example, I'm just going to go to Keith Mitchell. He's 1.45x. So he's almost getting 50% as many points for the same shots as Rory. It's a really interesting format. We know a lot of guys and a lot of subs that have had some success there. So we're going to be having some deals and some marketing centered around them. I just wanted to mention them right off the top before we dove into everything. And on that month, we can keep it on SuperDraft before we dive into the tiers. We're at Colonial, Tim, and this applies, of course, to SuperDraft and DraftKings. Talk about the course. You always do. This is one we have a lot of information on.
Yeah, played here forever, 7,200 yard, par 70, bent grass greens. But it's really, I mean, probably one of the 3 or 4 tracks on tour where I think course fit is really huge. Really strongly favors the shorter hitters. Just haven't seen a lot of long players win here. Kevin Na last year, Rose before that, obviously a very good player. But then we have Kisner, terrible player, Jordan Spieth, Chris Kirk. And then we go back to where like short hitters just absolutely dominated. ZJ had a heck of a run here. David Tom, Steve Stricker, a little bit of overlap with the John Deere Classic. So yeah, I mean, over the years, it hasn't had a very strong field, so we haven't seen a ton of bombers play. And I think we'll get into that when we talk about some of the more expensive players here. But generally, I mean, this has been one of the handful of courses that really, really favors the shorter hitters. I put it in the same class as a Harbor Town where they're playing next week. So really, length just doesn't help you out too much. Now, all the great players are long, but they're going to be at a slight disadvantage. I don't think it's a major disadvantage, but just bump to the accuracy players. The Kisners, the Knoxes, those types of players, I think, are at a little bit of an advantage this week.
So speaking of, in 2017, Kisner won this event. Do you remember what it was called?
The Dean and DeLuca, right?
That's right. See, look at this guy. He can't get anything past him.
Not at this event. Not at this event.
Well, here's a follow-up. What is Dean and DeLuca?
A grocery store?
Okay. Oh, wow. Chat, that is pretty good. 2 for 2. So I did Pat Mayo show last night. This came up. Never heard of that in my life.
I feel like I looked it up when it was called the Dean and DeLuca. So.
I had never heard of Dean and DeLuca.
And I've never seen a Dean and DeLuca.
Me neither.
I was excited. I went to California for the first time and went to a Safeway. So it was pretty exciting to.
What is that?
It's a grocery store. So the Safeway.
Man.
Yeah. So I was excited to be a part of that. I need to find a Dean and DeLuca, go grocery shopping there and see how.
I got to step up. Part of the reason I don't know these things, Chad, is because neither me or my significant other, we can't cook. So she doesn't cook. I don't cook. We don't go to the supermarket too often. We just get delivery. So that's how we roll here. I don't know about Dean and DeLuca. Anyway, enough about me blabbering on. Chad, I know you're ready to get after it. I guess we will. Let's go. 10K range. We got 4 golfers here. We got Rory, we got Rahm, JT, and Bryson. No surprise, this field is stacked, Tim. You know the drill. Here we go. I like Bryson the best. Gonna get that out there immediately. What do you think?
Wow. I think I like Bryson the worst.
Of course you do. You like Rahm, don't you?
No, I like JT.
Okay. I should have known.
Yeah.
That was poor.
It's tough because, like I said, we want to say, oh, it's a short hitter's track. But all the best players are long hitters, and they're not all going to struggle because it's a short hitter's track. So at the end of the day, or at the end of the week, a handful of these guys are going to be up at the top of the leaderboard, and people are going to say, oh, look, it's a bomber's track because Rory and JT are right there. But some of these guys are going to struggle based on course fit, but obviously some of these guys are going to have success because they're the best players. I'll tell you why I don't like Bryson is because his resurgence this year was all due to off the tee. It's all off the tee, just smashing off the tee. And this is just not a big driver course. And, the rest of his game really wasn't as good or as consistent as the off the tee game. So that's why I'm a little leery about Bryson. I like JT. Just because you're getting a price discount, $10,600, $1,200 cheaper than Rory, $400 cheaper than Rahm. And I put those 3 all, I think they're very similar types of players. They're kind of the big 3, the guys that have been consistently good over the last year. I just like the price discount with JT. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any 3 of them. I just don't think it's a great course fit. I'm not super excited to play any of them. But if I was going up top, it would be JT for me, just because he's the cheapest.
Wow.
Not counting Bryson, who's awful.
Bryson's course history is bad. But when I dug into it, he lost strokes putting in 3 of 4. He's a Texas guy. He went to SMU. He should be fine here. The thing that I did notice, and you mentioned it, his off the tee game is historically good right now. You can't separate off the tee here. It doesn't mean it won't help him. It doesn't mean that he should be set up perfectly off the tee, but he can't dominate off the tee here. That's really difficult to do. I still $1,700 difference between him and Rory. Do you not think, and again, I have to play psych doctor, that Bryson is the type of guy though that would maintain form better? Like he had 3 straight top 5s coming into this, and obviously there's been a couple month layoff. he's got to be in the lab working on his game. You think he's just chilling?
No, I'm sure he really is working on his game. Is that really going to translate, though?
Which translating? 25-1 in the betting market.
I'm trying to not have any of these narratives in my head that we are making up or anyone's, because we just do not know. This is this tournament is an enigma. We've never seen anything like this where we haven't had any player in the field play a competitive round in 12 weeks, 13 weeks. We really don't know what's happening. I do think that, yes, he's grinding in the lab, doing all that stuff. Is it going to translate? I don't know. But it's really the off the tee, that great off the tee game that I just don't think is going to help him as much here as it would at other courses. That's why I don't like Bryson.
And like I said, that is legitimate. It's just ownership, of course, is going to dictate some of this. And obviously we will have that out. We've done a couple runs. Rory is going to be, all these guys are going to garner ownership. I think JT probably the lowest owned of the four, which helps you. Rahm's got some experience. Rory's the best player in the world. And Bryson, he's the cheapest and he is playing really well. The course history is going to scare some people, though. That is something.
So can we say that, I don't know if ownership, has there been like a milli maker in any sport where ownership was more important than I think this week, where we really don't know what's going to happen?
Oh, no. This is a week where if any player gets to a certain threshold where I don't think I can get there. Because you cannot tell me, not that you ever know for certain, but we don't even know what these guys have been doing. Yeah, you hear these reports of my game is in great shape. It's funny. Everyone's game is in great shape. They're looking forward to getting back out there. And then when they're 6 over through 3 holes, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there is absolutely no reason for any player to be chalk. If any player is chalk, you should absolutely not play them, because there's just nothing there. I mean, this is a total, I don't want to say total, it's a somewhat of a crapshoot. I think there's going to be some factors leading guys to be overowned. I think course history would be one of them. I think, as ridiculous as it sounds, I think people will still default to players who are playing well before the break, which I think is almost meaningless. I think it's just natural to say, oh, well, this guy was great, at the Players or Bay Hill or whatever. He was on fire, good stats. I mean, I think you can throw that out. I think people are going to default to that. I think course fit is going to cause people to be overowned. That's a little tricky for me because this is a big course fit course for me. So I'll probably be leaning on that a little bit. And then just who is getting touted. I think that's going to cause, I think it's just, those are the factors that are going to cause ownership. And if you can find guys that are underowned, I mean, this is a great week to swerve off of the chalk.
Well, I think where you can do that is in the next range. The 9K range is going to have some, of course, really popular plays, starting off with Webb Simpson at 9,800. But there's some big time guys here that are not playing great in Brooks and DJ. You've got guys like Xander and Ricky just sitting there. Sunjay, Patrick Reed, Morikawa going to be ridiculously popular, and then Justin Rose. You can start in this range. Your second man can be in this range. What do you do? Are you more into the chalk with Webb, or is there someone under the radar here that you like?
I do love Webb. I think him being chalk. I know. When I saw that they were coming back to Colonial, before there was even a field, I didn't even know if he was playing. The first thing that popped into my head was Webb Simpson, because he's the closest thing to like an elite player who is also a short hitter that we have. I mean, he's as good as Rahm or Rory or JT, no. But I mean, he's right there and getting better. And honestly, if you take away off the tee over the last 2 years, the stats have been amazing. So far this year, he was 7th in approach, 23rd around the green, 13th in putting. And if you go back to 2019, he was 14th in approach, 20th around the green, 11th in putting. If you take away off the tee, which is not going to be important this week, Webb Simpson is a top 5 player in the world. I mean, it's just he struggles off the tee, and that's what holds him back. I think here it sets up perfectly. Now he's got a great course fit, obviously, great course history, and he'll be popular. Those are all reasons to not play him. But I mean, in a vacuum, I think it's a perfect spot for him.
It's a fine spot for him. I get why he's popular. I don't have time for this though. Not getting over on. I'm just not getting over on Webb Simpson. It's you. If you want to play him, you want to start in cash with him. I think a lot of people will. I get it. His weakest link is the least important part of what makes you successful at Colonial. And you could say the opposite with Bryson. And I get where you're going with that. Webb struggles off the tee. It's really hard to be punished off the tee. I don't say it's hard to be punished off the tee here. There's easy ways to mitigate it here because you can club down. You don't need to be aggressive. His short game, his wizard putting, yes, he's really on a run here. But man, you don't have any interest in pivoting to like Brooks or DJ, who legitimately could be 1/4, 1/5 of the ownership?
I do. I like DJ a lot, actually, at 9,500. I think another thing that maybe the main thing we should be focusing on is just long-term form and pedigree of golfer, because that's really maybe the one kind of constant that we have, being that we've had a 12-week layoff. Let's focus on the guys that have been good for a year, 2 years, 3 years. I mean, those are the guys who are most likely to honestly still be good this week. And you look at DJ, he's been a top 3 or 4 golfer in the world for over 10 years. And he had an injury issue, didn't play that well. But at 9,500, I think you're just getting a great price discount on him. The time off, I mean, we don't know what's happening with anyone, but I don't think it's going to hurt him. So I love the price. And yeah, if I had to go anywhere in this range, it would be DJ. Play him with Webb or pivot off of Webb.
What about, so for me, I go down a little more obviously on brand. Ricky, Reed, two guys really crafty. Reed's the Texas guy. Ricky likes bent grass. Their games, I think on courses that don't demand length off the tee, sets up fine. Not going to be super popular, and they're good sandwich spots because you have Morikawa and Sanjay, who, again, I get these are all world-class players, but we got to talk. I mean, feel free to give your thoughts on Ricky or Reed, but Morikawa, I mean, he's never, 21 straight cuts made, irons as good as you could find in the world right now, but I still kind of double take when I see him at 9,100.
Yeah, and he'll be popular too.
Really popular.
That's the other problem. Yeah, I'm with you on Ricky. Doesn't rely on. I mean, he's long, but he doesn't rely on a ton of length. Decent on and around the green. I think he's a good course fit here. I like him. I'm bumping up anybody that doesn't rely on having a ton of length. That doesn't mean that guys like Rory or Rahm are going to struggle, but it's just their big advantage is mitigated a little bit here. So I'm going to just try and find some guys that don't rely on that length. And Ricky is one of them. I like him a little more than Reed, but yeah, a good spot for Reed as well. And I love Rose at 9K. I think he'll be popular, but he ditched the stupid Hanma clubs or whatever the hell he called those. And again, kind of like DJ, just underpriced if we're looking at like long-term form and pedigree. I just think with the new clubs, past winner here, doesn't rely on length. I think you're getting a great discount. It seems crazy to me to play Morikawa at 9,100 when Rose is 9K.
I'm with you. I think, a friend of the show, Slim Brody, just asked, who's going to be the next most popular guy after Webb? I think it could be Morikawa, Sanjay, even Xander. Those are all reasonable candidates. But Morikawa is really people. You got to just think about it logically. People who play him haven't been punished at all. So what do? They keep playing him. And he has not putted at all. It's been all irons, and that is something you like to see. But I'm with you. Give me Rose. Give me Reed. These are guys that I have such confidence in long-term on a macro level. And even coming out of a break, I kind of do value guys that have had 10 plus years on tour. They've had some weird things happen. Not this, but I'm sure there's been a time where they've taken a break. They don't need as much repetition to get it back. I feel pretty good about what I'm doing in the 9K range. But as we work down, your friend Mark Leishman at 8,900, he's in a middling price tag over on SuperDraft, 1.2x, which I think is a fair multiplier for him. And then as we work down, we've got guys like Woodland, Finau, Jason Day. The bottom of the 8K range is actually insane. There's going to be a lot to say, but we'll just start with the top of it. Are these guys getting squeezed for you, or are you going to make room for the upper eights?
Yeah, not a range that I'm in love with. I like the nines a lot. Not in love with the 8K range. I think Woodland is interesting to me as a guy that not a lot of people are talking about, and a guy that's traditionally played well at short courses despite him being super long off the tee. So I think it's a good spot for him. I don't think a lot of people will be playing him. Really doesn't have any course history. Um, haven't heard much chatter about him, but I think it could be kind of a sneaky good course fit for him and maybe a good low owned spot for him. But honestly, in the 8K range, not a lot I like. I mean, can we talk about Scotty Scheffler for a minute? Is there a more ridiculous?
See those outright odds?
I, I don't even know what the word is, but it's insane that he won. What did he win? He won like charity events.
Nothing
And
of
that's
that.
like
Yeah, I don't know. He
he
won
won like
something.
2 charity events, I believe, during the break, and it's just all of a sudden vaulted him to the same odds as like Justin Rose, which is insane because Scheffler has never won on tour, and honestly, I don't think he's really a good fit for Colonial anyway. But I don't know if he's lining up to be the chalk or people are just betting him outright. But usually the outright bets and the DK ownership seem to go hand in hand. So I'm guessing he will be popular. But I mean, I just think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm more with you than not. I mean, it's the same story for me. I tend to, I don't want to say hang on too long. Maybe you could say that, but like Jason Day to me at 8,300 is more likely to have a ceiling there. I bet him at 66 to 1. Um, I know it's Day and I know the back. He wasn't even playing that good, but this is a guy that he can get crazy hot with the putter. He can hopefully mitigate the spraying here. And at that price tag, I'll gladly go down to the lower eights. The upper 8K range, although they're good players, it's pretty dead for me. Like Shane Lowry, I don't have much use for. Kuchar, maybe a cash play. Finau Leishman, not a strong take. You can't have a strong take on everyone. But the lower eights, I mean, you want low owned, high upside. Like if you're playing the Millie Maker, you've got Day, Fitzy, Usti, Sergio, and Spieth.
I mean, if you play Day and Usti together and
You can only be duped by me at that point.
and you get 8 rounds out of both of them, I mean, or out of them together, you've already won. I mean, you're asking for a withdraw. You play Usti and Day together. Day's interesting. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when he was the best player in the world and he rattled off like 5 wins in a row
He
at
was
the end.
so good.
Like, well, I don't know when that was, 2016 or something like that.
Well, it's easy when every putt inside 10 feet was legitimately automatic.
Yeah. And that was the same thing with Spieth when he was good too. It was like just crazy hot with the putter. Spieth is the other one. I mean, I don't know. He was not showing signs of being, he hasn't been good in a year and a half. I don't care if the course history is amazing and the course fit is good. He wasn't good. He was in no way, shape, or form turning it around before the break, unless I'm completely
No, he wasn't
misremembering, to use a quote from Roger Clemens.
So you don't have he's starting to gain a little ownership, Spieth. I think he could push double digits
because of the course history, and people think that the layoff can only help, which it's true. It can only help because that's how bad he was before the layoff. He couldn't possibly be worse. So yeah, I don't like it. I mean, he wasn't showing anything before the break. I'll go to Sergio at 8K.
That's right.
I think he is interesting because you look at the upper 8 range, and I mean, you could easily see Sergio at 8,900 right in there with guys like Woodland, Leishman, Rose. I easily put him in that class. And I think 8K is a nice price. So of everybody in the 8K range, I like him the most at flat 8.
He was a late ad, which is always nice. I know a lot of people hadn't built yet, but you're not going to see a lot of buzz on Sergio. He's a 1.25x over on SuperDraft. I don't mind that either. No doubt about it. I got a good question for you, though, in chat from Ryan W. And I haven't thought about this, so this is to you. You're the expert here. Thoughts on correlation between this tourney and the Greenbrier? Na won both events. Kisner has a win at Colonial and a second at Greenbrier. Phil has won both. All good putters.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I mean, if you lay it out like that, I think you can definitely make a case. Both bent grass greens, I believe. I guess I never really thought about Greenbrier being a shorter hitter's track. But yeah, I didn't think about the correlation between the winners there. And it's not like you said, it's not Rory, Rahm, and DJ. It's like,
guys that don't win that often.
Yeah, guys that don't win that much. Yeah, that's interesting. So what does that mean? We like did Xander win the Green? Neiman? Oh God, no.
I mean, I think that, listen, I think one of if you find a correlation that you think connects, that is a cool thing to do. And you can base some stuff off it. Does it mean just take the Greenbrier results and transfer it? Wouldn't advise doing that, but that is something that you can look to. And if you think even if it's a part of a game, like don't do the whole thing, but say like, all right, maybe the short game correlates or something like that. But I'm with you with this range. I think you're going to get some good targets in the low eights for, milli type plays. I don't know if you want to get any safety there. Last guy, I just want to ask you quickly, do you have any interest in Fitzy?
I think he could be a good play because I think the course fit is there.
It's perfect.
I don't think a lot of people will play him. I hate Fitzy mostly because Baroff loves Fitzy, so that I'm just obligated to hate him. But yeah, I like the course fit. I mean, I'm not playing him, but I think, in an MME situation, I don't think it'll take much to be over on him, and the course fit is good. Loves to come in second in terrible tournaments like the Nordea Masters and stuff, so I don't know.
Any tournament with the word Masters in it.
Yeah, this is called the Colonial Masters. He would be a lock.
Yeah, lock it up. All right, before we move to the 7K range, Chad, I just want to say a couple of things. One, you guys are amazing. First tournament back, and we got a bunch of the regulars in here. We really appreciate it. If you can do me a favor, hit the like button. It helps us out a ton. And I also want to tell you, if you are interested in joining, and we hope that you are, we have a promo code. Promo code is Schwab, SCHWAB. You're going to get 20% off the yearly PGA package. So you get in here for a full calendar year. You get all the tools from Alex Baker and the team. You get to see me and Tim in Slack with our antics, Jason Roslin, Nolan Kelly, everyone behind the glass, providing tools and projections. Or if you're an all sports kind of person, we have a promo code SUMMER, 10% off that platinum yearly pass. So we have a lot of things going on here. Much appreciated. I see the thumbs up going up on the video. Thanks again for that. But we're going to move on. This is where it's going to get pretty, I don't want to say dicey. There's a lot of good players here still in the 7K range. And, as we work down in SuperDraft to that 1.3, 1.4x, you're going to need some of these guys, Tim. And we've got about 50 targets, it feels like. Hovland starts us off. Sneds is not here. We'll start with the high sevens. So your boy Berger looks like he's going to be very popular. Are you going to rip that to shreds, or are you jumping on?
Yeah, no, I'm not jumping on because he's going to be super popular because he was playing so great 13 weeks ago, which honestly means nothing. So no, I don't like it. The course fit's good, but outside of him just being great, in February or whatever, who really cares? No, and if the ownership's going to be high, it's just all the more reason to not play him. Obviously, I love Kisner at 7,600.
Correct.
Perfect course fit. Past winner here as a 10th and a 5th. That will bump up ownership some because, like I said, I think course history is going to be a big factor that leads to ownership because we just don't have that much stuff to look at or that much data to go off of. But yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better fit. That the price is good. I think everything sets up well for him.
90-1 in the outright. Kisner's 90-1 in the outright market.
That's good. Yeah, boy,
very steamy.
You're trying to get me to keep just fire more bets off here.
Hey, if you play everyone, you're guaranteed to hit it. Then you can victory lap it.
Very true. I think him, Horschel, I don't mind at 7,400. No, I got a scowl and a scoff from Ben.
No, that's not the answer.
I like Horschel because consistent.
He went to Florida.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's a Florida guy. Go Gators. Consistent, but yet has some winning upside. I like the consistency, makes a ton of cuts. A lot of times you see these guys that are like winners and you end up with like Scott Stallings or James Hahn or something that miss a billion cuts in a row, but then can pop up and win a tournament. Billy Ho can pop up and win a tournament too, but he doesn't have to miss 90 cuts a year to do that. So I think you get some consistency, but you also get some winning upside. if he's playing well. I think 7,400 is a decent price for him.
All right. So there's a lot to unpack here with what you've done. So I only get a couple things right a year. I was on Daniel Berger before this break. I really was. But one of the things that you had pointed out a couple times to me, and it's very true, he's a big Bermuda guy. Bent is not his preferred surface. Now, par 70s are, no doubt about it. So I get it. The problem is I really think he's going to creep up in ownership, and I do like Kisner quite a bit if I need to pivot. You got to talk to me, though. I legitimately, sometimes you hear, oh, you know who's going to be chalk, and you hear it. I can't believe that Harris English is going to be popular. I don't see it at all. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is not something. He had lost strokes on the approach in 4 of his last 6. He's gained around the green. He gained 4.3 strokes around the green at API, 2.8 at Honda.
Right, but where did he finish in those tournaments? He probably finished great. No. Yeah.
Well, he gained 8.3 strokes with the short game at API and 6.6 at Honda with the short game. You should be in the top 20.
Right. And I mean, look, I think this is a perfect example of just what I was talking about. Great course history. He's got a second and a fifth, was playing well 13, 14 weeks ago. And people are just going to gravitate towards that when honestly, a lot of it is meaningless in my opinion. And like you just broke down, I mean, the finishes were good, but the way he got there, that was bad. I mean, if we were just coming in on a tournament, if this was the Players and we were handicapping that event, we would say, no, he's a pass for me because, yeah, he finished in a good spots in the last 2 events, but he did it all with the short game on and around the green, which is not likely to be repeated. And I think he's just a perfect example of people just leaning on the tiny bits of data that we do have, and it's just going to cause guys to be overowned when really it's just not that relevant.
Yeah, I listen, and like I said, Harris English, the results to speak for themselves. He's been very good, but I think he's due for some regression. And if the masses are going to go there, there's legitimately 10 guys right in this range. Like this is not it's Harris English or one other guy.
You could play anybody besides Harris English. How about that?
Yeah. And listen, I think he's going to garner some interest because of those results. And I just think that they're not as solid as they may indicate. The other guy that I have really trouble with, and I truly don't have a take on Max Homa. You hear he's playing great. He was playing great. Crisp ball striking, gained putting in 5 straight. He's a California guy, but I think he could translate. I think I'm more with you, though. I'd rather dip a little. So I'm just going to throw out a couple names. You said Horschel, but at $7,400, we've got Neiman, Wolf, Benyon, Horschel, and Ryan Palmer. You have Horschel first of those 5?
Yeah, I probably do have him first. Palmer is interesting. I know he was a member at Colonial. I don't know if he still is a member at Colonial. Yeah. He doesn't seem like the greatest fit here, but I mean, good results. Obviously, being a member is going to help. So I have some interest in him. I can't remember all the names you listed. Like Wolf, I couldn't think of a worse course fit for Matthew Wolf. Just a terrible, terrible player.
Benny?
After him, after Billy Ho, after Palmer, 2 guys at 7,200. I like, and very similar players, great course fit. Russell Knox, Brian Harmon.
Ooh, I cannot believe you didn't say Ryan Moore at 72.
It just escaped me. But now that you mention it, it's just like the light bulb just went off.
Ryan Moore makes
that's interesting. And no one will go there. People will play Knox and Harmon probably before they play Moore.
Correct. And I think that may be an oversight. Ryan Moore fits this perfectly. The course history is not good. I don't worry about that at all. A lot of those results are like 7-8 years ago. But I know we're jumping a little bit in this range, but that's kind of how we have to do it. Just to put Ryan Palmer is a member here. He's played this course, I don't know, maybe thousands of times. Like he plays it all the time. That isn't always indicative, though, of success. I do like him in this spot, but it's not as simple. I am interested to know. I was thinking about this, and I don't have an answer. So there's not going to be grandstands. When he plays the course, in the off season, there's not grandstands. I wonder if the setup will be more indicative of what he's used to. But maybe I'm overthinking that.
No, I think there's something there. I mean, yeah, I think the course will play, slightly different with no grandstands, no spectators. I mean, how much does that help him out? I don't know. I don't
No,
know.
I got one more guy for you.
Okay.
I got two guys. One
Okay.
is just a guy that, who would you rather play if you had to, Phil or Cameron Smith?
Oh my God. You just went. It was
I
like,
talk about
would you rather be thrown in a pit of alligators
or
or
lava.
a pit of snakes or something? I think I would play Cameron Smith because I think the course fit is better. I know Phil's won here like in 1987 or something.
Yeah, he beat up Keith Clearwater in that
Yeah,
playoff. It was quite a
it was
duel.
great. It was like him and Lee Trevino coming down the stretch. I would play Cameron Smith, and that says a lot, being that I probably hate him worse than anybody on tour. But I think the fit for Cameron Smith is a little better than Phil at this point. I know Phil, I think he may have won here twice. I don't know. A long time ago, back when he was one of the best players in the world. So that kind of explains that a little bit. But yeah, I'm not going toward it. Do you like Phil?
No, stop. No, I don't like Phil. I have no interest. He was great with Tom Brady. I will say that. I really enjoyed that. Obviously, I was rooting for the other side, but that's neither here nor there. Justin just mentioned this in chat, and he, I think, is right on the money. Ian Poulter is another viable play here. 7,300. He was playing good golf. He's got plenty of experience, fine bent grass splits, par 70, working off 7 straight made cuts. I don't know why he wouldn't play good, honestly. So everything checks out there if you're looking for a pivot. You mentioned already Harmon. I'm going to throw in Ryan Moore and Russell Knox, 3 guys that fit what we want to do here. Then I got to ask you, on the flip side, what do you make of Bubba at 72?
Couldn't think of a worse course.
Okay. So if you're going to make the anti-stack, you've got Wolf and Bubba leading you off here?
Exactly. Well,
Okay. That's
just
fair.
yeah. I mean, we all know, and it goes a little bit deeper with Bubba. He's a guy that I'm all for, hey, let's take a shot with a bomber because we're going to zig where people are zagging, and we don't have a lot to work with. But Bubba is a guy that needs Bubba courses to play well. I mean, I think that's a fact. It's not, we've seen it for years and years and years, Riviera, Augusta, Travelers, all those places. You get him a course he doesn't like, which I can't imagine this would be a good fit for him. I can't imagine he would like it here. I can't go there. Not with him. Take a shot with another bomber, not him.
Okay. Coke rack.
Yeah, hey, there you
Stop.
go. I wouldn't play him, but you
Yeah,
could.
Coke rack, all he needs is like a couple lucky holes in one, a chip in here and there. Doing it with smoke and mirrors. He's all right.
There's a
No,
lot of plays here. This is the range where you look at the ownership projections and you find 6 or 8 guys that you don't mind playing and then just play the lowest owned out of any of them.
I agree. So yeah, I know we've mentioned a lot of guys in the 7K range here, but there's so many plays, and on many of my teams, I'm gonna have 3 guys in this range. When we talk about that Palmer, Horschel, on Moore, and then we didn't even get to, this is where all the guilty pleasures are. So we've got at 7,100 quite some names. We've got Griot, who's possibly permanently broken. Keegan is there. EVR is there. And then your boy Corey Connors is there. Do you like any of these guys? Or Ches? Floor is yours for the low sevens.
Oh, God. Well, this is where Griot gained like 10 strokes putting, which
He still lost, though, somehow.
It seems impossible. I should go back. I should have like recorded it when they were playing like all the final rounds or whatever. Just to witness that again.
In 2018, he gained 10.7 strokes putting. That's 5 more strokes than his best putting performance ever in the history of his life.
Imagine betting Griot in that event and having him, and you were told he's going to gain 10 strokes putting. You would literally have just
be homeless.
Everything. I mean, everything. The
house,
the kids' college fund, everything.
Even equally as insane. Then I tell you, he's going to gain 0.3 of a stroke around the green, which for him, people, just to believe me, I know Griot better than most. His putting is bad. His around the green game honestly might be worse. It is There's mistakes were made. Anyway, we don't need to spend time on him. What do you make of EVR? Chat mentioned Bezenhouten, who we didn't talk about. These South Africans, it's very hard to judge some of them. They have limited experience on tour, but they're super talented.
Yeah, I don't love a lot of the guys at 7K, 7,100. I think EVR from a talent standpoint is good. I don't know how great the course fit is for him here, but I just think if you're thinking about pedigree and longer term form, I think it's a good price for a really good golfer. I don't have a problem with it. I always like Connors. He's at 7,100. I don't think he's a bad play. But I would just prefer to go up $100 and play one of those three: Harmon, Moore, Knox, somebody from there. And there's a couple guys in the upper sixes that I think are viable as well. So I don't know if there's anybody right at like 7K, 7,100 that I love. But, I wouldn't mind a guy like Connors.
JT Poston. If you need a guy at flat 7, it's JT Poston.
Yeah, you love him.
He just crushed in the Sea Island tournament. Not that I take a lot from that. Actually, I honestly take nothing from that, but it's still cool. He sets up perfectly, hits a lot of fairways, can get hot with the putter. Wyndham correlation for me, and he's won there.
Are you going to tout Duffner?
All right. So one of the many travesties about the golf season having to go on hiatus was I didn't get the credit I deserved. I took Duffner from the ashes in March. I played him at Honda NAPI, and he was doing some things. It was me. So if he cash in here, I'm going to be very upset. This is a pretty good course for him. I mean, you know that better than me. Doesn't have to be long off the tee. The putter is always hit and miss for him, but I don't mind it. Do you?
No, I don't mind it. I don't think,
So sick.
He's a milli maker play.
Yeah, double milli maker. If they run like a Billy maker, you might have to open it up to that because it's very egregious. But this is where we're going to open it up. I mean, we'll get to the 6K range right now. This is going to be your deep multipliers on SuperDraft, your 1.4s, your 1.5s. We'll start with, this guy is actually the last guy at 7K range. We had Dustin ask, Taylor Gooch. A couple people asking about Gooch. You're the resident Gooch expert, I guess we'll call you. What do you think?
Strange.
Yes, yeah. Sexual and violent.
I've liked Gooch for a long time just because gets crazy high with the irons a couple times a year, gaining like 10 strokes on approach. And he's done it multiple times. So I think it's something he's got in the bag. Okay. It didn't happen one time. I mean, it's happened multiple times. My thing with him is he's been a little bit inconsistent. We haven't seen that super high upside out of the iron game. At least I don't recall during the beginning of the season. I know he played well. I know he was making a lot of cuts, but we just hadn't seen him just crushing with the irons. I mean, I don't have a problem with him at 7K. He's got upside, obviously, but I don't know. I think there's other places that I would go. He wouldn't be like a core play for me.
So what do you see, in this last range here? Is it the Todd father? Is it, chat's ahead of the curve with Bud Cauley? They know what's up. Obviously, I'll be speaking about him shortly. What do you make of it?
No, I mean, if it right at 7K, I mean, honestly, I'm just probably playing at 7,100. We'll say 7,100. I'm probably playing Connors because just like that's my guy. The ball striking is always good, has a decent finish here. But again, I'm not in love with honestly anybody at 7,100. It seems like from 74 to 72, there's just a ton of guys. And I mean a ton of guys. There's like 8 or 10 guys right in that range. And then I don't know, a little bit of a dead zone for me below that, right around.
What about below 7K?
I like RCB.
Okay.
I think he's just too cheap. I think 6,900. I don't really understand that price. Another guy, if you're just thinking back, 2 or 3 years, consistently good. He hasn't played a ton on the PGA Tour, but he's had some decent finishes. Great on the European Tour, very consistent. I like him. I just don't understand that price. I think he's too cheap. I don't know if a ton of people will go there, but I'm really just trying to focus on, let's look at big picture. Let's look at the last couple of years and who do we think is going to, because that's really all the data we have is kind of long-term form and pedigree. So he's a guy that stuck out to me as just being too cheap at 6,900. I mean, there's not much else there, but I think he's just underpriced.
Little Spaniard stack, little Rom Sergio RCB.
There you go.
See what I'm doing there? Yeah, I think his name kind of stood out. I see people mentioning Lanto. I get
No,
it.
see, that's just you're just relying on what happened 3 months ago, and he was
You
terrible.
tell them. Attack the audience. That's what we like here. It's
Just
great.
come here and be belittled by me.
Uh,
No, I mean, but it's just human nature to go back to the things that you know or whatever. But I mean that he was crashing and burning. I feel like, right? He was like the thoroughbred that was just running out of gas towards the finish line, and then the break came.
yeah, I know how that goes. You should have seen my horses trying to close the other day at Belmont. Some of these freaking anyway. That's a show for another time. Danny Willett is someone I took a really close look at. He was quietly starting to get some form back. You're talking about minuscule ownership. The bent grass splits are fine. He gained 6.2 strokes at API, but again, I agree with you. I don't really know what you take from that. You're kind of flying blind down here. We got to talk about this, and I have a feeling you'll have a hot take, and we'll probably be wrong. People are saying like Victor Perez is very interesting. I barely know anything about him though. I have no interest. Do you?
Is all I know is I feel like was he the chalky guy at the WGC Mexico that was awful? Was that Victor Perez or is that Mike Lorenzo Vera?
No, that's him. Because he came in fourth at the one in China.
Okay.
And then he lost. I have it right here. So this is hot stats from Victor Perez. He lost 6 strokes off the tee, but he gained 7 with the approach, only to lose 6 more on the short game. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't seem good.
Imagine following that on Shot Tracker. It's like shot 1, 250 yards to the unknown. Shot 2, like 212 yards to the green with an 8-foot putt, and then it's like 3 putts.
Yep. Yep. That's I wish Wes Bryant was here. That anytime I hear 250-yard drive, I think of Wes Bryant.
250 the unknown. No, get Victor Perez out of here.
Okay. I mean, so yeah, what do you got? Because I think Bud Cauley does set up great. Can scramble, doesn't need to be long off the tee, was striking it consistently. I'm going to hope that continues. I mean, is it Jimmy Walker? Is it Nick Watney? There's a lot of your favorite guys down here.
Can I say ZJ?
No,
Are people going to go there?
That's not correct, but sure.
Are people going to play him?
No. Nope.
Did they play him at 6,800? I mean, this is a great course for him. He's not that bad. He's not that bad.
No, that's how I qualify him, is that bad.
But with that course history, I feel like he should be more expensive. So
being serious about him, I think it's now course history. Do you really think he has anything left? Like, he's lost strokes gained on the approach in 5 of 6.
That was a long time ago. Maybe he turned it around. See, this is how you can spin this. You can do anybody.
Talked about this yesterday.
Anybody. It doesn't matter. He could have turned it around. I don't know.
Hard reset works when your guy's playing terrible. If he's on fire, though, he just continues the form.
Is all I'm saying is, when have you ever seen a guy with this good of course history be this cheap? I mean, it doesn't happen. I feel like he should be like 7,400 or something.
I wish. Well, actually, I don't. If he was 7,400, I wouldn't even have to consider him. I'm still not considering him, so I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know why you would dip this low in cash. If I did, he would still be in consideration. I mean, there's some names down here like Kevin Tway. I looked at quite a bit, not playing great, but again, was decent with the irons. I mean, this is where, Tim, we talk about this, and I think I can speak for you, but correct me if I'm wrong. This is where course fit becomes even more important. Like, you talk about Rory and Rahm. It's not a great course for them, but it doesn't matter because they're Rory and Rahm. There are no courses that are going to prevent them from doing damage if they're on. But if you're a pure bomber and you're down here for this event, I don't know if it's going to be effective. Now, Cameron Champ is down here. I don't see it, but I guess you could get against the grain and play him.
I just wanted to say, you can always speak for me because it's probably going to be more intelligent than whatever I was going to say. So Feel free. Honestly, and I thought about this when I was writing some stuff down. I do actually prepare for this show, people. I had like Bubba versus Furyk as like, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, it doesn't, at the top, it doesn't really matter. But then you get down here where course fit really matters, and like Bubba versus Furyk, that was like one that I had written down of, like, you probably are going to want to go to course fit when we get down in the lower sevens and below. Yeah. So I'm with you 100%. I don't know if I'd be taking a shot on a guy like Keith Mitchell. Tway is a bomber too, though. You kind of,
I know, but he's one. I put him, and we should. I thought, you mentioned this, but I didn't clarify it. Gary Woodland is a bomber, but he benefits from a short course because he can pull iron off the tee. And Kevin Tway to me is similar. Luke List is another guy like this. Shorter courses counterintuitively actually help them because it mitigates the damage they can cause off the tee in a bad way.
Very true. It takes me a long time to figure these things out. Like, I lost a lot of money on Gary Woodland for like 10 years. Like,
I'm understanding that. Yeah.
Not a quick learner. So it'll probably be like another 5 years before I get this with Kevin Tway.
All right. Before we get out of here, we've got the bottom half. I mean, there's not many plays here. Is there any drop dead? Is it, for Telly, your boy Doc Redman is down here, Hubba Hubbard. Anyone, chat earlier mentioned Kramer Hickok, he's a Longhorn. Any of these guys pique your interest, or just don't go this low?
I mean, I don't think I'm going this low. I don't know. Shout out to Data Golf and Daily Roto. Stricker, I think it's 6,200 is playable. I said don't look at what happened before the break, but with him, I will reference that just because he's old and we never know when the game is completely gone. So it's more of like, he made the cut at Riviera and he made the cut at Bay Hill. The last two events that he played, awful course fits, especially Riviera. I couldn't think of maybe a worse course for Stricker. But made the cut at both of those events. And I'm just using that as a barometer of like, does he still have anything left in the tank? And he did. And I mean, and this is a great course for him past winter here. I mean, I think you could go there at 6,200. I think you could go Brian Gay at 6,100, another really good course fit. But I don't think I'm going down here. I think there's enough guys in the low sevens for me that I can just, you can get away. I mean, I don't love the very top end guys. I don't love the really cheap guys. I mean, it's going to be more of a balanced build for me. But if I had to go way down here, it would be old guys, short hitters, Gay, Stricker. But yeah, I don't think I'm really going to go there. What about your boy Bill Haas?
Hey, Bill. Yeah, I mean, I unless I make like one or two Rory JT teams, I don't think you need to go down here. There's so many plays that we talked about in the low sevens. You could be fine ending there, or even in the high sixes. So I see a couple names that chat throughout: Cam Davis, Xingzun Zhang, Denny McCarthy, the putting god, even CT Pan. Honestly, I think if you're looking down here, these are the type of players you want to at least consider. All of them have some skill sets that you could extract, but I don't think it's necessary by any stretch. So it's more roster. Go ahead.
Siwoo?
No.
I mean, no. We know that if he's hot, obviously.
I've never got him right. And I honestly,
because he's only been right twice out of like 200 starts. So
that's right. I don't know. Like Jazz is down there. I think that's just unnecessary. Coming off the break, to me, that is just like a double ask. Because like we don't even know where they're at normally. And now it's like, maybe that helps them, I guess, in a sick way. But I don't see it. I'm going to stick to what I think I can project and let other people chase. Ownership will certainly determine a lot of this. Tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern, me and Jason Roslin will be doing more lineup construction things. We'll talk about the players, of course. We'll really get into the ownership, the projections, maybe crunch some lineups on the show. So you can catch us then. But Tim, let's just wrap it up here. And again, thanks to SuperDraft. Any final thoughts? I know, I hope you didn't hurt yourself on this first show back. You got to pace yourself. We can't just dive right in. But what do you make of the Colonial here to wrap it up?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think ownership is going to be huge. I can't think of an event, even in any sport, where ownership is going to be bigger because we really don't know a lot about what's going to happen. There's so many question marks. There's no reason for guys to be overowned. So if you don't pay attention to ownership projections in the past, I think this is one where you really have to do that. I mean, I honestly think it may be the most important thing this week.
Yes, listen, the game theory aspect of this is going to be crucial. And that's why obviously I'm biased because I'm here on this show, but I love our ownership projections. I love how we do that. It's worth it. If you don't want to buy the yearly thing, even though it's a great deal right now, come in for a week. Just sign up for our weekly pass. It's a couple bucks. See what's up and see if it helps your game. I think you'll really like it. We'd love to have you guys in there. And this week, just don't. I know this is not going to help you build this week. My number one thing, though, is don't overreact to what you see, even in Showdown. Like, it's going to be one round on Thursday. If a guy gets off, if Rory shoots 2 over, don't say, oh my God, the layoff, he's done. This is crazy. Like, he'll be all right. These guys, they may need to knock off some rust, but it'll normalize faster than we think. So, on that note, we're going to get out of here. Thanks again. If you can hit the like button on your way out, we would appreciate it. Special thanks to Josh Engelman behind the glass, making this look good. I hope you guys like the topics on the left side of the screen. And on that note, I'll be back tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, for another PGA golf show before we tee off at the Colonial. Good luck, everyone.